At 15, after getting in a fight one night, my mom's like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, whatever you do in life is your choice, but I have cancer and the doctor's given me 3 years to live. So, for the sake of me, like, all I ask is just you go to college. Whatever you want to do after that, it's up to you.
All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are at. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Succession. My name is Christopher Fu, and the purpose of Succession is to pay success forward. This episode is brought to you by Maven Bridge Capital. And I'm super excited today because lately I've been interviewing a lot of great friends that I'm fortunate enough to surround myself with. And me and this guy, every time we get to see each other, we always have conversations about business, life, and success. And it's just a great privilege to be able to share that conversation with you guys and kind of the things that we talk about. So my guest today is my good friend, Colin Nguyen. He is a top real estate agent in the Seattle and surrounding areas in Washington State. One of the things I love about him is that he also does a annual toy drive for the Seattle's Children's Hospital each and every Christmas. He was also selected as 1 year alumni of the year for his fraternity out of, I think it was 25,000 people, and celebrated just as a leader for how he gives back to the community and just shows himself as a good example for fellow people within the organization. Also, he's on the college board for the University of Washington. And most importantly, he's a huge advocate for driving financial freedom and helping people build wealth through real estate. So, again, thank you so much, Colin, for coming on to Succession.
Hey, there's Chris. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be here and share some of the knowledge and chat a little bit about the journey.
Yeah, no, I appreciate again having you on here. Now, again, being a real estate agent, I think I have to ask this because right now the real estate market is crazy. I guess I'll jump into it. Where do you see the real estate market going from here into the next, say, 5 years, 10 years down the road?
Great question. I think everybody asked that question was, what do you think the market's going to be in 5 years? And reality is like no one has a crystal ball on it. But in retrospective of everything that's happening right now with the low inventory, it's this price is here to stay. Kind of like how inflation has pushed the price of everything, and this is becoming the new norm. I
Hmm.
think a lot of us are thinking, hey, the price is going to drop. Reality is it's already here to stay, and it's been going up the last 8, 9 years depending on where we are in the country, especially here in Seattle. We've been seeing it for the last decade going up in single to double digit, and as of last year going up in some areas here up to 35-40%
It's
in a
crazy.
12 months period. Like, never would I ever imagine seeing a home going up 30% in a 12-month period. Like, we don't see that. But one thing I think about right now is the reality of things are costing a lot more, and it's a domino effect for everything. Like, we talked about inflation on your show before and how it's affecting our everyday living, but also when it comes to housing, it's there. Like, the cost for a house right now being built is going to be more than ever before. So the domino effect of, well, I'm waiting for that builder to build that new house so I could
Hmm.
move, right? So that house that was before $1 million, it costs more to build because labor supply has gone up, lumber has gone up, concrete has gone up. So with all the material going up, that house is going to be more than 1 million. So that guy that's selling his house, he's now selling his home for more than what he thought it was. And the first time buyer trying to buy their first home is going to see that home that they're looking at a little bit more. So it's a domino effect that we're going to see. Whether that is 1 year, 3 year, or 5 year, we're going to see that happen in the future. And
Yeah.
but in reality, is real estate is still proven trial that it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And we saw one of the biggest crash, which was when I started real estate in 2008, and even then it went down 30%. So I believe that it's here to stay, and these prices are, it's just, it might fluctuate, but in reality it's looking at long-term perspective, yeah, it's here.
So talking about '08, we talked about this. We got into both of our practices around the same time.
Oh
Probably
man.
the best best time to get into real estate, best time to be a financial advisor. I'm sure that must have been super
Oh
difficult
man.
and super stressful for you. I mean, what made you just keep at it? Because it wasn't like right now, right? If you were maybe a real estate agent seeing the market right now and how hot it is, I'm sure it was night and day. And I'm sure it was very difficult for you to get your feet up and running.
Absolutely. Like, I think when we talk about life and success, it's everybody always talks about the golden days versus like when we get a chance to talk, we talk about the adversity because I truly believe in any market or even life, adversity will help us grow and become who we were really meant to be. Is it challenging? Yes. Like I think that was one of the most challenging market ever. And even to today, it's the one of the hardest market they've ever seen in real estate history
Mhm.
since the Great Depression in the 20s and 30s. So I think going back, I always had a focus on what is your why, right? Like we talked about what is my burning desire, and our
Mhm.
why has always been like I still have it on my phone. Maybe I'll show it right now. Is I always have a dream board of my why, and for me, it's what how do you see your life in 5 or 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Here, let me put my dream board up.
Oh, that's
Like
nice.
on my dream board, and this is my previous one. I have a new one, but I still always have this, which is like at that time, it's like someday I'll have the family, the home, and the the lifestyle that I want and who I want to become as a leader and philanthropist back in the world, right? And
Yeah.
who do I have to be to become that person? And on those tough days, we can't look at the days, we got to look at the big picture of where we're trying to go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more so much with you as far as the why, looking at the bigger picture. Same thing here in our industry. We have days like where we're having right now and weeks like we're having right now. But we scan out and look at the bigger picture again. It's always focused on the why. Why are you invested in the market? Why are you invested in real estate? Why are you doing certain things? Not because of something minimal, but something greater than that. And it's just understanding the why. So I love that you share that. Share the same exact sentiment, 100%, man.
It is. And that's so absolutely like just to dovetail what you said is true because it's the hard days, right? The days that we don't want to get up, the days that we look at our investment and it's going down, or the days that nothing's making sense of it. We have to look at the long-term picture. And even for real estate, like I look at real estate back in 2007 at the
Mhm.
peak of the market, the previous peak, it was at a medium price home around here was at 450. And then for 3 years, like '08, 9, and 10, it dropped down all the way to end of 2011 when it was down to from 450 down to 338. And I'm looking at, oh my gosh, why would you invest in it? But anybody
Mhm.
that would have held it, the median home price right now is 870. So not only did it
Jeez.
recover, it doubled.
Yeah.
So I think like as any investor or any all of us, whatever we do in life is think of it as a long-term game. Like
Yeah.
especially our generation, right? Everybody's about this quick buck or
Right.
like the IG life or the gram, how I say it. But it's like think of the big long-term picture of where you're going.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, then just to kind of segue on that, then, so obviously there's a lot of the younger millennial generations trying to buy their first home, right? And they're looking at the prices and they're looking at, like I said, inventory is low. What would you tell someone who's looking to buy a home in today's market? And they're feeling just so defeated because again, they're competing with so many other people for the same house. I guess, are there different things and strategies that you kind of help your clients with, especially say a brand new client when trying to shop for a home during this market?
Great question. Like uh, if you're looking for a home right now in this market is right now the next 3 months is going to be a critical time because everybody's trying to get in
Hmm.
basically it went on steroids the moment the Fed said we're gonna raise rent or raise the rate. Like right now, with the rates going up, everybody's like, hey, we got to get into a home so that we could lock in this low interest rate and have low monthly payments
Right.
for the rest of our lives. But so I would look at the market as long term and don't if you're looking at an area, like make sure you really want to be in that area and be willing to pay for more if you want. If you like that area, think of it as, hey, I'm gonna live here 5 to 7 or 8 years. Because if the market keeps going what it is, even if you seem like you're buying at a high price, in 1 year or two,
Hmm.
it could be one of the best investment you would have gone. Like for instance, our home, right? Like if we wouldn't looking back, we bought a new home in 2019. I was like, who's gonna be the dumb that buys that house? And we ended up buying that house. And now we look back that it's appreciated 40% or over $500,000 in a period of 24 months. We're like, oh my gosh, like that was the best decision. So sometimes as a home buyer, you just want to get in and ride the wave
Hmm.
as a home buyer right now. And then to look at this competing market, have an open mind of like maybe it's just not one area. Can I go out a little bit further? Can I change my outlook on the type of home I'm looking for? If it's your first home, I mean, I didn't buy $1 million first home. Like my first home was $200,000. I actually got it for 190, and it was a duplex. I kept it. I still have it. I rent it out. And now that duplex is probably worth about 650. But at that time, I looked at it as this is just my first home. And that's what first home buyers got to look at is it's not your forever home.
Yeah.
It's just the starting point.
Yeah, yeah. I think you bring up a great point because I think a lot of people, when they think of their first home, it has to be the home they're gonna live in forever. Which I felt the same exact way with you. When we bought our first condo, I knew it wasn't going to be our forever place, but I knew I wanted to buy something and own something because long term, I would eventually turn it into an investment and not live there. And luckily, so far, that plan has paid off. You know,
Exactly. It's like, yes.
luckily it's helped, right? So what about then for people who are looking to buy not a home for themselves, but maybe become a real estate investor? How does that look like in this market today?
As a real estate investor myself, our goal is to help homeowners buy and sell their home.
Yeah.
But along the path, I became a real estate investor also. And we have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. And I don't share that often, but hey, you're like family, so I wanted to be like transparent here. And the reality is like start off small, like just take the first step as a real estate investor. Everybody always talks about, including myself, I wanted to oh man, I want to cash flow like this much or have
Hmm.
$1,000 cash flow. I think the first step is just to go in on your very first real estate investment. And then from there, you can see, okay, what do I got to do in finding the right tenants? What do I got to do in rehabbing the home? Like I've gone through all the mistakes of like having the wrong tenants and not paying rent for 11 months, or why did I rehab it with hardwood flooring when it's a rental that they're going to trash anyways or
Mm,
potentially not even care about. And so that I would say as an investor, that is the critical point.
yeah.
And the one thing I forgot to talk about is the interest rate today. Even though we talk about it's going up, it's still one of the lowest in history. I mean, we talked about 18% interest rate before in the 70s.
Right.
And then in the 90s, it was 7 to 9%. Then in early 2000, it was 6% to 8%. So now we're looking at four. It's still one of the best in history. And if you're talking about cash flow, that helps the monthly payment very low so that you can get cash flow in a lot of areas. So as an investor, I totally agree that, if it's for the long term, it's still one of the best interest rate that you get on a mortgage.
Would you say, as far as if someone, let's say, never bought a piece of real estate investment for investment purposes, should they start small, like a condo or townhome, or doesn't matter, just depends on location, where they want to be, cash flow, all that stuff?
I love these questions because I actually lived through it. Like if you ask right now, like I've owned a condo before,
Yeah.
we sold it. That if I could say anything, it would be single family or multifamily. like we have a multifamily, we have a single family,
Yeah.
and like recently I'll share with you like maybe like a little in our podcast we have a farm even so that we use for commercial, and so I think I would go with definitely single family because you can always find a renter for that single family. For a condo, you never know if the HOA says, "Hey, you could rent it out," but
Right.
or next month you cannot. We actually bought a waterfront condo that was amazing, and we bought it for 65,000, and then we had to sell it for 120, and now that condo is probably worth $400,000. It's Do I regret it? Yes. However, what happened was the HOA was saying, "Hey, you could rent it out 5 units." By the time we went to rent it again because the tenant moved out, they're
Hmm.
like, "No, no, 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 you can't, because now you got to go back in line. There's 6 people that are in line to rent out their condo units. So unless
Oh,
it's your
wow.
turn, you can't." So then we end up like saying, "Well, we can't keep this thing because it's now vacant and we're not going to pay the mortgage for it." So that right there is a lesson from us that make sure you look at the HOA as a condo or any investment property. So that's why I said to go with single family or multifamily if you can.
Okay. Now that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about that. I know the HOA is usually very strict on a few things, quite a few things, but never knew something like that. So
Yeah.
that could really hurt. Yeah, like you said, if you're trying to rent that out and you have to wait in line just to be able to rent out the place.
We lived it, right? So like I lived that, and I would never recommend someone going through that because of the HOA
Yeah.
factor and the rental cap
Okay.
that has it.
Now, what about as far as the profession itself, right? I think there's a lot of you guys, right? Real estate agents, because it's a great industry to be in. What about someone brand new wanting to get in the industry? You think it's like it's too late?
You know, when I first started, there was about 1 million real estate agent, and then
Uh-huh.
during the down market, there was less than 800,000 in the country.
Okay.
And realistically, there was probably out of those 800, only 300,000 were working because the rest were mentally not there
Yeah.
during the crash. And then right now, there's over 3 million agents like nationally. And right now, our team's actually considered in the top 1% of all agents in the country. I think I mean, I attribute that to God and his blessing and hard work. And I think it's always a good time to be an agent, as long as, again, if you think of it as long term, am I
Hmm.
just going to jump in to be an agent and make money really quick? I didn't make more than $20,000 my first year as an agent. And now, like my goal is like, hey, once all of our property pays off, it's getting 20,000 a month in cash flow.
Yeah.
So it's two different spectrum. And just to say that as an agent is how long are you going to do it? And yes, if you're going to go into it, think of it as a 3 year, like an internship for 3 years, because you're going to learn those first 3 years and make it or make it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes it. I mean, that's kind of how it felt like in my industry as well. You don't make anything in the very beginning. You got to do your internships. You got to learn the ropes. I mean, how did you get into real estate? Like, did you just know like you always want to do real estate?
It's like, did you want to do this? I think all of us that speaks for our profession, most of us don't know, right? Like during
Yeah.
college, like, did you ever wanted to be a financial
No,
advisor?
I mean, on my first
Okay.
episode, I think financial advising chose me because there's, I never knew any financial advisors growing up, let alone what a financial advisor was. So it
Yeah.
literally just chose me. So I'm always curious how people get into their profession, if they've always known or if it just kind of chose them.
I think the professionals choose you, but you can always see that guiding light, right? We always have that intuition of like, all right, shoot, is a good path to follow. I mean, I started out banking. I took my Series 7,
Yeah.
like through to Wall Street and worked at it and called, and I realized I was like, man, these guys in the banking world, like they were doing mortgage, they were great. So I came from that circle to be it's Like if you ever watched Wolf of Wall Street, we were
Yeah.
calling, and then pretty much I went to Countrywide, which that time was the number one lending institution for mortgage. I felt great making six figure, and within 18 months when the market crashed, I was almost about to file for bankruptcy,
Wow.
and it was life learning lesson to be sitting there at 24, 25 years old and almost signing bankruptcy papers because you I was making the wrong financial decisions at a young age. And I sat there and I was like, no, like I won't do it. Like, you know what, I'll pay back the money and just give me on a payment plan. Because I truly believe in integrity. And when you sign something, you honor it. And that was the path. And I went to real estate after that because I figured, lending is out right now, but real estate was also out. I didn't realize that, but I jumped into real estate thinking that it would be great. And I've always had the passion for people.
Yeah.
And so that went into that shift towards real estate, and I never looked back on it.
Nice. Now, did you have any like mentors when you got in initially that helped
I,
you and guide you and things like that?
Amen. Like I think all of us, no matter what profession or who we are in life, should always have a mentor. Like a mentor is like someone that we're inspired to become
Yeah.
in life, or someone that has done what we are trying to do on that path. And so I do. I have great mentors. An amazing person named Saul, and he's always there for me in personal life and professional. And you look at that type of person that you want to emulate as a mentor and follow their guidance and advice. And then from there, it definitely does help you cut down your time as a new person going along the path. I feel still new. Like when people say like you sold hundreds of homes already, like hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate or like half real estate. And I feel like a newbie every day because I have a mentor that is like 30 years ahead.
Yeah. 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 Like you said, it's a great example. Someone that has already had that life experience that, is obviously being so gracious, giving the time to help you, practice, perfect your craft. And I'm sure that over time, if not already, that you'll be doing the same for someone in the next generation wanting to get into the industry as well too. Well, you have a team, so I know you're doing that for people on your team.
And I think that's the best part about our life is the last segment is about like working hard, making the income, building the wealth, right? Doing what we love. And then the last part of that chapter in life is legacy. We always like that's what I truly believe is like leaving a legacy in life. And a legacy could be what we do for others, and then also is what do we teach others along the way. And I truly believe that like it's almost like someone helped you along the way. So like I've always helped mentor new agents now and kind of talk to them along the path and let them know what right and wrong or what kind of mindset they should have along the way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think like mentorship is a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. I mean, so, one thing that again that I touched on is that, you do this toy drive every single year. Like when did you start that?
But it's been 8 years. It's like
Eight
it went by
years.
really fast. Like
What made you want to do that? Like where did the I guess genesis come from of as far as, doing the toy drive for the Children's Hospital of Seattle?
it was two factors. Like I one of my I was like what we talked about. I'm getting emotional because what we talked about was every adversity gives a seed of opportunity
Yeah.
in life. And I lost my mom pretty young at 19.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like losing my mom at the hospital has always been, one of that moment in life where you at that place. So for me, hospital is a place where a lot of things, a lot of changes could happen for families, especially with Children's Hospital. Like a lot of these children are sick or their family members, like pretty much they spend a lot of money just being there. And for Christmas, a lot of these families don't even have a toy for Christmas. And we started out by how about if we could just get 50 toys, right? Like then
Yeah.
we set up an event, and we even have Santa there so that people in the community could come take free Santa photos because I never had one growing up at the underprivileged family. And we give back to all of the community members that wants to come. So we have hundreds of people that come there, and then if anybody wants to bring a toy, like they will take it for the kids at Seattle Children's. And it started off by just 50, and now like every year we have hundreds and thousands of toys. That's enough for every child at the Seattle Children's Hospital, which is one of the biggest hospital in the country.
Oh,
And
I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
it just started off as like small, and it grew because people will always want to give back on it.
Yeah.
And it's just the journey of it all, to see it. So like we've helped thousands of families now, and you know what, it's very endearing to give back like that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, just doing anything as far as giving back, you always get a sense of obviously just feeling good, that you can do something for people, again, less fortunate. I think that's a very powerful thing that, I'm glad, to have you share that story. Cause again, you've been doing it for 8 years and starting small, and just it's grown. I've seen it grow over the years and to what it's become. It's just an amazing thing to continue to watch and see
Thank
what you
you.
do.
And we would thank you. And then with honor, like you guys are always contributing, and also like we have people that sends in gift from the whole country, and then
Oh man.
like friends, family, or past client, community members. So it's grown to that part of the community. So yeah, even children's are pretty thankful for it, where it's enough toys now that it's not even for the kids there, it's for the brothers and sister. Because I mean, can you imagine being there on Christmas, and you got a sick child, and you pretty much all the bank accounts drained because of the medical bills, and just that one simple toy could change that kid's life for that moment, and for that family for that moment.
Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference. That's something that they won't forget. And just being able to make that small but huge difference is something that I think we all need, in the world today, especially with what we're going through right now. So
Thank
thanks for sharing that, man.
Thanks, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me about being a board member on the University of Washington. How did you, someone tap you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, Colin, I love what you're doing in the Seattle real estate. Can you share more about real estate? How did that all happen?"
Life is definitely a journey that comes in full circle. And so the story was like I was actually a keynote speaker for the College Success Foundation, was actually funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Wow.
My story was when I was younger, I wasn't that kid. I hung out with the wrong crowd, like, and hanging out with the gang members, and got in a fight. And at 15, after getting in a fight one night, my mom's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, whatever you do in life is your choice, but I have cancer, and the doctor's giving me 3 years to live. So for the sake of me, like, all I ask is just you go to college. Whatever you want to do after that is up to you." And at that moment, like, I had a 2.8 GPA in high school at end of ninth grade, and I foretold every single class until I got to my senior year. And I brought my GPA up to 3.7. And that very year, the Gates Foundation opened and had their scholarship. And Bill and Melinda Gates funded College Success, which gave me a full scholarship to college.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And it was awesome. Like it was that turning point. We all need that kind of like that help up, right? That one opportunity, and that was mine. Like the opportunity to go to school, and I got to go to UW. My mom passed the second year, of college, and I actually dropped out as I was speaking to the gate. It was when I was a keynote speaker, there was 1,000 people in the audience, from the governor to the Gates family, the Bezos family, and the dean of UW, who was there listening. And I basically shared the story that, yeah, I dropped out, but because of the Gates Foundation and College Success, I went back to college and finished it out, because it was still, I believe, there was a way to honor my mom on it.
Yeah.
And because of that, education led me to where I am today, and I'm always honored by them. And so after that, the dean, I made most of the audience cry, and it was a standing
Yeah.
ovation.
Yeah.
And the dean actually called me up a week later, and said, "Hey, look, like I have a great board member, but a lot of our board members don't have the background that you do because a lot of them are affluent families, right? Where here we're talking about being on the board that wants to have systemic change. We always talk about the equities,
Mhm.
that in lower income families they don't have. A lot of these are lower income families. Like I'll share with like the call now that, man, when I was growing up, I used to steal cereal throughout the week. And it was,
Mm.
look back and it's just like, dang, that's pretty sad. Like, why,
Right.
And it was because on a weekend, then I could have cereal to eat on the weekend.
Wow.
And because of that, it made me who I am today. That like we all have different type of grit, right? Like that today is like I like one of my ritual like we talk about is every morning I start off with gratitude is, hey, I'm thankful for, just having being alive. I'm thankful for having food on the table. I'm thankful for a cup of coffee, a roof over my head. And when we could start the day with gratitude and what we have and what we already accomplished, it makes it easier to go out to get what we want to go to the next level.
Yeah, 100% agree, man. I appreciate sharing that. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing to always remember is just having that gratitude. Yeah, we may not have the things that we want today, but just again, just being able to wake up every single day, it's a new day and a new chance to make make your life different and make your life better. And testament to you and your story, man. I mean, obviously, thank you for sharing something that's I know really personal, but I
Thank
know
you.
that's where the drive and everything comes from for you.
It does, right? And sometimes it does in all of us. We all have a different drive and a different reason or why, right? Like I guess my why is I'm so fearful of ever going back to
Yeah.
that I have to do whatever it takes. Like I'm totally on the opposite, right? Where it's like I think like knock on wood, but like our cash flow right now from our investment will there will always be food on the table. Not like knock on wood, like it would always be cash flow enough to have groceries in our fridge. Like, but it's also that drive that puts your burning desire in in your heart.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I don't like to ask if there's anything that you would change because I think everything that has happened in life to all of us happened for a reason and God obviously did what he did in order to guide us to the path that we're supposed to be on. I think
Amen.
again with all of our life experiences, it's like same here. I don't ever want to go back to feeling, financially vulnerable again to that point earlier in life. So it's just making sure that we keep growing and keep educating ourselves and keep giving back. I think it's so important, especially what you brought up right there.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's a journey of it, right? Like we always think about the journey of it, like and like the byproduct will always be the success of the money, but it's the journey that we always want to live. And I think like at the time where I'm 85, I'm into my deathbed and looking back, and it's like, oh wow, that journey is fulfilling. That's all it is, and then the gratitude along the way. And of course, I'm always driven for like it's like you're grateful for today, but you're always driven and hungry for more. Like
Right.
just the growth, just the
Right.
path.
Yeah,
It,
no, of course. Of course. Well, I mean, what would you say is one single thing that you love most of what you do, if you could
it,
pick?
it's the people and the opportunity for others to see what real estate could do for them.
Yeah.
It's real estate is just more than just
Yeah. So expand
investment.
on that. Yeah. Because most people think it's just buying a home.
Yeah, I think it's it's like okay, I'm just gonna live in this home, all right? And like with COVID, I think real estate has blown up even more because now, right, it's just not our house is not just a home where we go sleep at night. It's now a place where, hey, it's our home office, right? If we're working from home, it's our daycare. We have kids that don't go to school. and it's the weekend recreational because we don't want to go out, right? Have a fire pit in the back
Yeah.
and enjoy, the comfort of our home. So it's becoming an essential part of our life now. But beyond that, it's creating wealth along the because I totally believe that there's two avenues that create wealth. It's the bond stocks and financial vehicle, and then there's real estate. And yes, there could be crypto or other, but history tried and true has been those two avenue. And I think even stocks is even more. But the reality is I think it's creating generational wealth right now.
Yeah.
Like we see people that have bought a home for $880,000 like 30 years ago, and now they're selling for $1 million. And it's creating that generational wealth, just like a family that invested right in stocks, that bought the right companies, then kept it for 20, 30 years. And now they're living on dividends of those stocks, and those stocks is tenfold. And is that wealth that gets you passed on to the next, generation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people exactly see it that way, like from a generational wealth standpoint, like you said, especially with the baby boomer generation. We're starting to see the largest wealth transfer that we'll ever see in the next 25 years. It's again, real estate has a lot and will have a lot to do with that as well. So that's
Absolutely.
it's huge. So where do you see yourself in 10, 20 years? You still see yourself doing this?
I actually do. I
Yeah.
actually do. And I actually, one thing I always write is my dream board every uh like 5 years. And okay, yeah, the dream board, and where I see myself is using a 10-year letter. So I actually write a letter to myself in 10 years out. I just finished it
Oh man,
in
you
5 years.
you jumped my question. I was gonna say, what would the Colin 20 years from now be telling you today? So share the Colin 10 years from now. What will we be telling Colin today?
It's starting to believe in yourself,
Yeah.
right? And like all of us, if I could look back 10 years, I would say that, like, hey man, just believe in yourself. I know the path doesn't look like it's there, but you got it. Like for me growing up, like there's a lot of times where I'm selling multi-million-dollar homes and now owning multi-million dollars in real estate properties. And I still think of myself as that kid sometimes, like going back, like, wait, am I really this person, or am I just that kid that used to steal cereal from school because I lived in low income apartment housing projects, right? And now, like one of our projects that I own is getting rezoned, and we're hoping to do a 20 unit project. And in the project, I'm gonna have like 2 to 3 units or 10, 20% of it for low income housing. So it went full circle,
Yeah,
right?
that's great.
So that's the part of life that it will go full circle on it. And how, so like that, to answer like the 10-year vision, it's coming, like it's I could see the path on it. So it's not doing real, it's just doing real estate, giving back, but also how it all integrates together along the path, like one day at a time, right? We have a 10-year vision. I write it down. What do I see my personal life, like life with family, wife, kids, and how is our team looking like, physical, like wealth, and also mindset wise. So I write all of those pillars down, and where do I see myself in 2032, December 31st? Like I write a letter like that. And that
Nice.
letter I wrote 10 years ago, and within 5, 7 years, like most of that letter has become a reality.
That's
Like we're
amazing.
really close. I like
Yeah.
we're really close. Where you've seen, like, it's like we got married and family and kids, and no one's perfect along the path. But I'm human. There's days that's hard,
Yeah.
relationship or life or physical, and it's just, but it's that North Star. We need that 10-year letter, or that vision board as a North Star of where are we going
Yeah,
on it.
no, exactly. I love it. I mean, it just reminds me of just financial plans that we run. Even though you may not hit all of those different things, just having that in place, and when you get there, you can reflect back and say, "Oh wow, I actually did a lot of this stuff." And that's just a great feeling just to be able to say that you did that. So I think writing a letter to yourself, that's something so unique and definitely something I'll probably borrow because I love that. I think that's cool.
Like, absolutely. And I think it's great. Like my mentor had me write that 10 years ago. Where do you see your life in 5, 10 years? And at that time, I was like, man, like you realize I just sat down with bankruptcy attorney not too long ago, and now you want that. Like I'm still in debt versus, okay, how do I get out of debt to, okay, I'm now saving a little bit, and then from saving, building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what we all need sometimes. It's just like we're in the trenches right there. It's hard to see out of it, but seeing that vision in the future really helps.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Thanks for sharing that, man. Now
Yeah.
I know you touched briefly on it, but I'm a big advocate. I love Why. I love the book Start with Why by Simon Sinek. And throughout Maven Bridge, I always try to preach what is your financial why. So for you, man, what is your why? What would you say is your purpose and why you do what you do? Not just with real estate, but just with philanthropy and just everything that you've done in life.
hmm I think so. Oh, man, this is a good question because you usually I would say something like that would be out like just motivational, but I think for me personally is living a life of legacy as if my mom was still here. Like
Yeah.
personally is how I show up to the world is a reflection of how my mom was. So that was
Mm.
just me personally is my why on it, and just who I become is a reflection of how she would have lived.
Yeah.
And here's a immigrant lady, working, and the most she ever made was probably 515, 525 in her life.
Yeah.
I wanted to become somebody from that. And with all the kindness, the love, care, and knowledge that she's given me, I wanted to show the world that what we could do. And it's always this giving back along the way.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you, man. Thanks for
Thank you,
sharing
bro.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep
Now,
talk.
I appreciate that, man. So I love this question. If you weren't doing real estate, what would you be doing?
I'd probably be a tech guy or like a podcaster, YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So it always works. Like I'm doing the Colin group videos on YouTube, so you can follow that. And it's just giving back to people, right? Like mentoring and giving back to the community, being a motivational speaker would be great. I think that somehow giving back and giving people the ability to believe in themselves feels it's very rewarding, right? On that, and then through passion such as this, it's I would definitely just would love to do that more, like for other people to mentor and give back and coaching.
Yeah. Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Awesome, man. Well, last couple questions here, but do you have any life motto or business motto that you go by, or any favorite quotes that just, always just hit you?
I actually do. Well, our fraternity has a motto of give expecting thereof, nothing thereof. And I always follow that, and like being alumni of the year with our right here.
Yeah.
And that's one of our models. That's just to live life is. And I think if we could just give life as a contribution, like we'll naturally grow, right? As any endeavors that we do, if we give and we keep learning and growing along the way, like it's just gonna be a byproduct that you'll be successful at what you do.
Yeah.
Like I mean, before when I was younger, I'm like, gosh, I want this, I want that. Like I want the results versus like if you just give and do, right? It's be, do, have. Which goes to like, so that's my first, and the second is be, do, have. What I've learned is be the person you're inspired to become, right?
Okay.
And then do the daily action of that person. Okay, well, if I want to be this successful person, well, I'm gonna be him, right? So most people is, well, I gotta do. Then I gotta have the stuff. Like I gotta have the nice house, the nice car, the nice stuff. Then I could be successful. Like then I could be like contributing to the world or be a leader. Versus if you start with being, like who would that leader be? Who would that successful person, be that great, person in life, right? And then do all the action, naturally you will have everything that follows.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I see success the same exact way. I think people see it as having the nice car, right? The nice jewelry on your wrist or the big house. But to your point, those are all the byproducts of trying to be what is success. And I think, like you said, being that person, figuring out how can I be that person I want to be through learning and learning through others and educating yourself, I think is the best way to get there. And I think obviously you're living proof of that, man. I mean, everything that you've gone through and had to go through in life, I mean, it's got you to where you are today. But you're giving back so much more too, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you for thank you for saying that.
No,
I'm
man,
gonna be here, man.
it's true, man. I mean, again, when we first met, I'll be honest, again, I was very admirable, of you and your life's work, and I continue to do so, man. I admire everything that you do. So I really mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for saying that. It
Yeah.
means a lot coming from you. Just knowing that your journey and what you've gone through and what you do and where you're at and where you're going, bro. Like it means a lot.
That's why I knew I had to have you on Succession because I knew you'd be a
Oh,
great,
thank
great,
you.
great guest, man. Well, I know you shared obviously a lot of great tips and guidance and stuff that I think a lot of our listeners can take. But any additional advice or tips that you think in business and in life that people could be maybe utilize if they're wanting to get into real estate or just maybe afraid of making a change in their life and trying to be that person they want to be? Anything that you could share that you haven't already?
I, I I I would say go for your passion. Whatever you do in life, as long as you're passionate about, you will make it work. And somehow passion will drive. I truly believe in that. Like I got friends that, like they were just photographer, right? And he had an MBA, then he now is one of the top photographer in the world. And I truly believe that whatever you're passionate about, you will become successful at it and become the best at what you do. And it's better than being just mediocre at a great profession. Like for me, I think if you become the Michael Jordan of whatever industry you do, you will be fulfilled and life will be full fulfillment in many endeavors. Like that will shine through your personal life, that will shine through your personal being. And, you wake up every day feeling joyful at it. And there's never a perfect day, right? Like just as long as we wake up and make it like how we want it to be on it. Yeah,
Awesome, man. Thanks, man.
brother, thank
And I
you.
really appreciate it. So for anyone, I know you mentioned you have like a YouTube channel, right, where you give tips and advice, and if people are in the surrounding area, need a house or anything, how can people look you up? Like on website, Instagram, YouTube?
Perfect. So yeah, if you look at the Colin group anywhere on Google, will definitely show up. Like we have our YouTube channel that we do bi-weekly or bi-monthly actually on videos of what's going on in the current market. And then we also have our IG and Facebook on the Colin group on it. And yeah, no, like thank you so much for sharing.
Awesome, man. Well, again,
Here. Like,
yeah, man. Colin, again, thank you for joining us on Succession. I really appreciate the time and look forward to obviously when we get to see each other again in person. I know it's difficult
yeah.
with everything going on, but looking forward to that next meeting. But again, thanks, man. And thank you guys again for tuning in to listen to another episode of Succession, where our purpose is to pay success forward. Hope you guys have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening.
Thanks, Chris, for having me here.
Thanks, Colin.
Appreciate you.
If you guys found this episode of Succession helpful for yourself, or maybe you're thinking of someone that could maybe benefit from hearing it as well, please don't forget to pass it on. The whole point of Succession, and also with success itself, I think we find it more gratifying, especially if we can help others. So again, if you find someone that can benefit from listening, let them know, hey, check this episode out. I think you'll love it. And that's the best way that we can continue to pay success forward. Now, to learn more information about Maven Bridge Capital, please go ahead and visit our website at maven-bridge.com. mavenbridgecapital.com. That's MAVEN, Bridge Capital, CAPITAL.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Please be sure to check us out, leave comments. We're also continuing to improve and build our firm. So any questions that we can also help you with from a financial advice standpoint, we love to do that as well. Other than that, again, I hope you guys have a great day, and I look forward to speaking to you all again very soon. Thank you so much.
Securities offered through Kestra Investment Services, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Kestra Private Wealth Services, LLC. An affiliate of Kestra is Maven Bridge Capital, and Kestra Investment Services are not affiliated. Kestra is and Kestras do not provide tax or legal advice. The opinions expressed in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Kestra Investment Services, LLC or Kestra Advisory Services, LLC. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations for any individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning the past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as an indication of future results.